And that's when my wife screamed my name and said, "Mark, someone's outside the house."
This is the police with a warrant. Police with a warrant. Stay away from the door.
So then I immediately grabbed my firearm. I'm thinking there's someone about to break in the house.
When Mark Manley began to use his social media influence to organize the Black community, teaching them the importance of firearms ownership, safety, and the Second Amendment, how did the U.S. government react? Well, I'll show you. The ATF raided his home and pointed firearms at his innocent children.
So I look outside of the window and I see tactical units surrounding my home. When I spoke to them, I was spoken back to with nothing but rifles pointed at my bedroom window. You can see the red dots all through my window. You can see them unlock my door, throw something in, and then they run to take cover. They throw a flashbang, they throw on the sirens. They threw one in my living room and threw one in my son's bedroom while he was sleeping. I see dozens of rifles pointed at me. The officers say, turn around. When I turned around, I see red dots on my oldest daughter. It was like 6 red dots on her. Told the officers, "Hey, y'all are pointing guns at my daughter." They told my son they were pretty much going to kill him. They're great children, and that they didn't deserve any of this.
It was like waking up to a bad dream.
They said, "Guys, we got nothing here," and everybody's face just like dropped in disbelief.
As both a content creator and a lawyer, I take online privacy very seriously, but most people are completely oblivious to the fact that their private data is being collected and traded online by shady data brokers. Data brokers create shadow profiles on you that include a frightening amount of personal information, and that information is then used without your knowledge or consent by banks, insurance companies, and even the government. Obviously, I don't want that, and neither should you. That's why I use and endorse this product called Incogni. It not only tracks down those data brokers that have your information, but they have that information completely removed. And it's very easy. You just create an account and that's it. They do all the work for you. It just works in the background. As of today, Incogni has located my private information with 495 different data brokers, and to date, they have had that data deleted with 454 of those data brokers, and 41 others are still in the works. This would be a lengthy and difficult process, even with my legal expertise, but I don't have to do anything. I just set it and forget it. This has saved me 340 hours of my valuable time. So check out Incogni using the link below or go to incogni.com/civil to get an exclusive 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Now let's get back to the video.
The ATF rolled up on their house, guns drawn, and tossing flashbangs into the home. Months later, the family still hasn't been told why.
He does charity work in Baltimore. He's an outspoken community advocate and has a large presence on digital platforms. More than 200 videos and over 309,000 people subscribe to Mark Chapa TV, his own YouTube channel.
I actually asked Grok about you. Baltimore-based Second Amendment advocate, firearms enthusiast, and community activist known for his efforts to promote responsible gun ownership, firearm safety, and self-defense education, particularly within underserved communities.
Community. We spreading unity, we spreading education through our community and just bringing everybody together, that's all.
Gun collector with over 70 legally owned firearms, all compliant with federal and Maryland laws. Manley works as an intervention specialist in a local school district, teaching de-escalation and conflict resolution, and also coaches girls flag football. He founded the Chapa Community, an initiative aimed at normalizing legal firearms in the community and educating people on firearm awareness and safety. How was that?
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% accurate.
And that wasn't the whole thing. Like, it continues. Manley gained wider attention following a controversial ATF raid on his Baltimore home on November 21st, 2024. The pre-dawn raid involved heavily armed agents deploying flashbangs and pointing rifles at Manley and his family including his wife and 3 children. Despite the aggressive operation, no illegal firearms were found, and the only item seized was his cell phone. Manley asserts he's a law-abiding citizen with no felony record and believes the raid may have been an intimidation tactic due to his vocal advocacy for gun rights, especially as a black man educating his community on firearms.
Of course I'm gonna be under attack, you know, and that's okay. I expected that, and like I said, we're gonna keep fighting. You know, the government is definitely they're not black 2A. They're definitely not pro-black 2A.
The incident left his family traumatized, their home damaged, and sparked significant discussion about ATF actions, with Manley raising funds for legal defense and repairs.
That is 110%. That is so crazy.
He also runs Mark Choppa TV, a YouTube channel with over 309,000 subscribers, where he shares firearms content and promotes unity and education. His work emphasizes empowering inner city communities, particularly black firearm owners, through knowledge and responsibility.
We're changing the lifestyle of our young brothers and sisters. We're changing their mindset, you know, and so it's important that we continue to come together like this.
The reasons behind the ATF targeting him remain unclear, with speculation ranging from an anonymous tip to potential government pushback against his activism.
We've been losing our children out here. There's been no representation of unity. There's been no representation of change for our youngins. There ain't no more Malcolm X. There ain't no more Huey P's.
You got Mark Choppa. You got Mark Choppa. Tell them.
When we talk about what's at stake, everything.
That's exactly how I feel, you know. I mean, it could be either one of those things.
Unity is key. Remember that. 1, 2, 3. Unity is key.
I think every single ATF employee that was involved in the raid on your home needs to be fired if they haven't already.
No, that's not exactly how I feel. Like I said, I mean, what they did was unforgivable, man.
So it's like the week of Thanksgiving, everyone's getting ready for Thanksgiving. You had no idea that anything was wrong until this happened.
No. Me and my wife was up. We was getting ready for work in the morning. We're both school teachers, so we're up pretty early. She was in the living room drinking her coffee, and I was upstairs getting ready. And that's when my wife screamed my name and said, "Mark, someone's outside the house." So then I immediately grabbed my firearm. I'm thinking there's someone about to break in the house. So I look outside of the window and I see tactical units surrounding my home. So of course I then put my firearm down, and first thing I did was make contact with my children. Told them to get up. We got the police at the door. Everybody stay calm. So I went to the window and I said, "Hey, we're coming out."
Hello? Hello, police! The police! Come here. Police! This is the police with a warrant! This is the police with a warrant! Police with a warrant! Stay away from the door!
A few seconds later, I hear my wife scream and I hear a bomb go off.
Occupants!
And of course, at the time, you know, I didn't know what it was, but it ended up being a flashbang because when I came downstairs with my children behind me, my wife was disoriented.
The children who were at home when this happened, what are their ages?
Zena is 17, Achilles is 15, and Zara is 14. Zena, my oldest, just finished culinary school. Achilles is a athlete, is a student athlete. He goes to a top 5 school, and my daughter, she's an artist. You know, they're great. They're great children, and you know they didn't deserve any of this. You know, and they're still shaken up by this, and this is their safe space. This is their home. Their peace has just been taken away from them in the blink of an eye.
Your wife was the first one who noticed that they were outside. What was the first thing that she observed or she heard?
She just seen movement outside.
They didn't knock and announce?
They never knocked or announced. And that's when I looked out the window and I spoke to them, and that's when they realized, oh, he's up. They hurry up and threw a flashbang in.
They showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning because they thought you'd be still in bed, or that they thought you'd be asleep.
They expected me to be asleep. They expected me to sleep, and that's how I know there wasn't any real investigation. There wasn't any due diligence coming to my home because me and my wife are out the door at 5:30, 5:45 every single morning. It didn't make any sense to me. Not for someone or agency that was doing an investigation on me. They would know that we are up at this time, and we're We go to work every day.
I mean, what can go wrong? You bust into somebody's house when you believe them to be asleep. That's purposefully, I think, what they do. They never announced their presence. Were they on a megaphone outside or anything like that?
After I spoke to them, they were sneaking around for quite some time.
They were just sort of lurking in the darkness.
Yeah, you can see them on camera. They were unlocking my door so they can throw a flashbang in the house. You can see them unlock my door, throw something in, and then they run to take cover.
Then once they realize that somebody's awake inside or they've been seen, they throw a
That's
flashbang in the house.
Yep, they throw a flashbang, they throw on the sirens, and they you can see the red dots all through my window. It was about when I spoke to them, I was spoken back to with nothing but rifles pointed at my bedroom window.
Hello? Hello, police! The police! Police! This is the police with a warrant! This is the police with a warrant! Police with a warrant! Stay away from the door! Police! Occupant! You're out! This is the police! Occupant!
Where did they throw the flashbang?
They threw one in my living room and threw one in my son's bedroom while he was sleeping. The back door, they broke the whole door. It was a glass door. They broke the glass door. They threw a flashbang. The front door, they was able to use a crowbar to crack open my door. Okay, and they threw a flashbang in the front door.
And what did that sound like from where you were in the house?
Sounded like a war zone. Sounded like a bomb. I can't describe it. I describe it just like my oldest daughter. She said she heard a bomb.
At the time, I did not know what a flashbang was, so I said, "Is that a bomb?"
The first flashbang leaves a mark on the floor.
I just felt very confused, scared, and it messed with my anxiety.
It definitely shook me up. Like, God, woke me up.
They were threatening to shoot. I honestly felt like I could get shot or I could die at any moment. It was, traumatizing. It was like waking up to a bad dream.
Once I heard the flashbang, I didn't want anyone to be startled. I just wanted to get out the house at that point. That's when I put my hands up. I had the children and my wife put their hands up, and they followed behind me. We're walking outside. I see dozens of rifles pointed at me. They were given conflicting orders. They said, walk toward me. And then when I'm coming down the steps, they told me to turn around. But they were still saying, walk toward me. I'm mid-step. I'm halfway through the steps. And you guys are telling me to turn around while I'm on the steps. I remember like feeling like, oh, they're trying to kill me. The officers say, turn around. When I turned around, I see red dots on my oldest daughter. It was like 6 red dots on her, and I just like told the officers, "Hey, y'all are pointing guns at my daughter. You guys are pointing guns at my effing daughter." And that's when they finally grabbed her and they put her in handcuffs.
Did they put all of you in handcuffs?
They did.
How long were you all handcuffed?
We was outside for about 20 minutes. And eventually, when they brought us back inside, they unhandcuffed everybody. But I was still handcuffed for the remainder of the morning.
How long in total do you believe you were handcuffed?
At least 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yeah.
Behind your back or in front?
Behind my back.
How did that make you feel to see police officers or whoever these guys were aiming their guns at your kids?
I was angry. Felt defenseless, vulnerable.
Did they ever explain why they were there?
When I asked the officer, because I told the officer, I said, "Hey, you guys do realize that I'm a full-time school teacher from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., I'm coaching girls flag football. So when do I have time to do anything legal? I remember verbatim. He said, "Do you have? Why would you have any enemies?" He said, "Do you have any enemies that will? Why would someone say these things about you?" I said, I'm from an urban city. I'm gonna have enemies. I'm someone who did something with myself and started a family, and I'm not in the same areas I used to be in. So of course, there could be some envy there.
Did they ever tell you what they were looking for?
They were looking for machine guns. They were looking for machine gun parts. One of the accusations was a felon in possession of a firearm, which I'm not a felon.
In fact, you work all day at a school. Did they seem surprised to learn that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you open up your gun safe for them?
I did. Because I knew I had nothing to hide. They were speaking about blowing it up. I said, "You don't have to do that. Unhandcuff me so I can open it for you."
You said you were handcuffed for like 3 hours. Is that how long they were in your house? About 3 hours?
Yes.
And where were your kids and your wife during that time?
We were all sitting on the couch together. My wife was still discombobulated. My son was shaking up pretty bad because they pointed guns on him and told him he was going to shoot him. They told my son they were pretty much going to kill him if he wasn't showing his hands. He had just opened his eyes to a flashbang. He's 15 years old and he was frightened.
When they finally left, they let you out of handcuffs. Tell me about that. How did that go down? Did they apologize?
They apologized to my wife and was just asking her, trying to have a cordial conversation about the security cameras because they actually cut off cameras, inside cameras. I believe they didn't cut the outside cameras because you would have had to get on my roof, and of course that would have alarmed us. So we were only able to get outside footage of the actual raid. I never got an apology.
They busted your glass, they busted your doors, didn't clean any of it up. They just leave you the mess, and that's it.
Not to mention their dogs defecated all over the home in my daughter's bed. The flashbangs completely ruined the hardwood floors in our home.
All right, so what? They're drug sniffing dogs. They brought in your house. They let them shit in your house, and they
They
didn't clean it up.
they shitted everywhere. I mean, they treated me like I was a terrorist. They came here for a fight. It almost feels like anyone that is a 2A advocate is a target, and I believe because of my large platform and my heavy artillery, it made me even more of a target. And of course, my activism.
There are actual criminals killing people with guns, selling drugs with guns that they could go after. Yet they go after you.
Not only that, we moved into this neighborhood, which is a really nice neighborhood. A month before the incident, one of three black families that live in the neighborhood, we just moved in and we got the ATF busting down our door, which is completely embarrassing to my wife and my children. They have to go to school with the kids that live in this neighborhood. They're ready to move, and we only been here for a couple months. They're ready to leave. This doesn't feel like home anymore to them. They were waking up in the middle of the night. They are truly traumatized, and they don't deserve it.
Those people are cowards. Every one of them needs to be fired. There's no excuse for the government aiming guns at people who do not present some immediate safety threat.
Mind you, my oldest daughter came out in a tank top, so with her hands up. There was absolutely no reason for a firearm to be pointed at her whatsoever. My youngest daughter was in her pajamas. As a father, their protector, I'm completely heartbroken about it. And what they did was unforgivable. We would never be the same. We would never forget this moment.
And they still haven't paid for the damage to your house?
No, they completely ransacked my house. My house was torn apart completely.
Did they sound disappointed they didn't find what they were looking for?
They were very disappointed. We overheard them. One of the agents say, when they huddled up, they said, "Guys, we got nothing here," and everybody's face just like dropped in disbelief.
I feel for you and your family. And that's the scary thing is it can happen to anybody. And it's the scariest with the federal government because you can't even sue them. It's like they have zero accountability and they don't wear body cams. They disconnected your cameras. So there would be no accountability. So we couldn't see what they were doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely insane.
If they did an actual investigation, how did you guys come up with this? If you guys were watching me, watching my family, we're a law-abiding family. We work hard. My children go to school, every single day. We are all in high school during the day. So I was in disbelief. I was in disbelief that this happened to us. But at the same time, I am a 2A advocate. I am a community activist. Uh I use my voice to speak out against injustice. They just knew they will find something in my home. If you did get a tip, how can you go off just a tip to use a tip just to justify targeting a family, putting rifles on children, flashbanging my wife and my son? How do you justify doing this by just a tip without any investigation, any real investigation? This could have ended up really bad. Okay, I could have been asleep. My wife could have been asleep, and hearing someone bust down my door, first thing I would have did was grab my firearm and defended my home. I thank God that we were up, that we were aware of everything, and I was able to get my kids out. I'm grateful uh, that we're all still alive. Yes, I am. I am pissed. I am pissed. I am furious. And this happened in November. I am still furious. I've been a father. I've been there their whole life. Been protecting them in Baltimore City. For them to come and take that away from me, they stole my baby's peace in this home, and I don't think I ever will forgive them. I'm a godly man. I believe in God. I am a forgiven man, and I believe that you shouldn't hold on to anger. But every day, every morning, I think about it. Every morning when I wake up, I think about it. I look out the window, and it's like I'm replaying it in my head, and I just get angry all over again.
Thanks again to Mark for telling us the story. I'll put all of his social media links in the first pinned comment below. I'll also post a link to his GoFundMe page. Remember, the government busted in his house, broke his back door, broke his front door, ruined his hardwood floors, let their dogs poop all over his house, including in his daughter's bed. And because they're federal employees, not only do we not have any body cam footage of it, but he cannot even sue them. The only means of accountability for ATF agents is public exposure. So if you want to help, you can donate to his GoFundMe. But more importantly, you need to expose what happened, to share this footage. Mark has been spreading the message that the Second Amendment is a key component to liberty, and he must be achieving something for them to raid his house like this. But having embarrassed themselves, even though they found nothing, they're apparently still holding this investigation over his head. The only thing they took was his cell phone so that they could try to find something, anything, against him. So help Mark in his cause by spreading the footage. And while federal employees are being fired across the country right now, how about everybody let their politicians on both sides of the aisle know that they want every ATF employee that had anything to do with this raid to be fired. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.